G'day folks, well I'm back. It's been a month, maybe a little bit longer. I'm just enjoying this fire. We're dead in the middle of winter now, pretty much. And it's been wet and it's been cold. A little bit of snow up on the hills, and I'd say outside it'd be 6 or 7 degrees and rain on and off, but it's beautiful in here. I've got 3 or 4 hours up my sleeve. I'm just doing a little bit of tidy up in the workshop, and it's really nice. It really is. It's great for the soul. There's nothing like looking at a fire and just feeling the warmth come off it and just staring into it. It's something spiritual about a fire. And I really enjoy it. It's lovely. This is my little personal bit of space in this little Mod Father shop. I hope you guys are well too, because there's a lot of crap going on in the world at the moment. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I've been trying to block it off and just isolate ourselves and just try and keep our chins up and keep that positive vibe going, because there are a lot of good people in this world, and it's just sad to see what's happening, and it's really sad. It really is. Well, guys, I've been on and off the car. It's been weird. I've done little bits and pieces to it, but I haven't really moved forward. But I have in a lot of planning, and I found a couple of issues with the car. I'll touch on that in a minute. But other than that, very happy with it. I've discovered I've got 2 bent axles. I'll show you before I move over to that. When I ended up, I'm not sure in the last vid if you've seen these new discs and that. I think I did show you. But once I mounted these discs on, and I assumed that everything was fine. I sort of never checked. I ended up sort of half, I don't know if you can see there, I've got that, there it is there, the bracket for the caliper. Well, I've got that tacked on, and I was happy with it, mounted it all up, and I had it like this, and anyway, I thought I might start the car up and give it a bit of a run. And when I engaged the gears in it to test to see for the clearance of the caliper, I realised the disc was sort of waving a little bit. This one was actually worse than the other side. To start with, I never even noticed the other side. I thought it was okay. And I was sort of more focused on this side and thought, I've got a bent axle. Anyway, as the weeks went on, I sorted out, and that was another story. It took me 3 goes, 3 different crowds to get me an axle. And I ended up circling back around to Joe and George differentials, which I originally bought the 9-inch conversion of them, and they did a beautiful job with it. And I got on to Joe again, and yes, this time round he was on the money, and he shipped me another axle, and it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Well, I came in this morning, and I was going to fluff around and set the other side caliper up and tack it on. And I thought this morning I'll fire it up again, check it, and bugger me dead. Once on closer inspection on the other side, wasn't as bad as this one, but it was about, I would have said about 1 mil waviness in it, like that. And I thought, bugger it. So I've ordered another one. So, I mean, this diff now is going on, I don't know, probably 10, 11 years old. It'd have to be at least 10 years old. I think it was 2010, 29 maybe I ordered the diff. It's a 31 spline, and yeah, it's buckled. So, I mean, it's had a lot of use, guys. It's had some abuse, but I've never sideswiped it into a curb when I was running it on the street. It's like it's never been abused. Like I've never had a little accident with it. So I'm not sure whether it's just abuse over the years, because now I'm running those sticky tyres, and I've had, well, I will say though, I've had, before I did the rear diff suspension change in the top arms, it used to axle tramp really bad, and I'm not sure if that's caused it. So I thought, bugger it, it's just not worth me trying. I heard that you could set these up in a lathe and just get them faced, but running bent axles, racing, no, it wasn't worth the risk. $500 a pop, and I get, when he delivers it, he gets me new studs, all the bearing and the plate, everything's set up again, and I've just sent him a picture away, so he's on the go to make another one up. So peace of mind, it's not worth it. I mean, for $1,000 basically, 2 new axles and wheel studs. So it's better to safe than sorry. I mean, if it was on the street and it wasn't, if I was just playing around with it, I probably would face it maybe, but it's just not worth it in my opinion. So new axles, this one on the way. Well guys, my next, I'll just get the torch. Well, I'll show you here, and I just want to see if you can pick up on the change. I've made a little change to the front of it. Keen eyes will spot it. There is no power steering on there now, no power steering pump. Now, I'm going to a Astra electric power steering pump, and I'll show you. So I've pulled it, obviously, I've pulled the pump off and everything, and now I'm going to mount this electric power steering pump. It's off an Astra, Holden Astra. Now I've never really heard about them, like electric power steering pumps, but these are very, very popular with the Commodore guys, that with the LS motors in them that go to a front mount turbo. Because of packaging reasons, they retrofit these things, and you can hide them anywhere. A lot of guys are running them under the, it was actually my son. I've seen a few guys, well, they run them in under here. If you really were keen, you could mount it in under there. But the whole idea with me is I don't want weight over the front. So I thought, why not? Because I know this side of the car, guys, is around sort of 20 kilo lighter on the left side of the car. And if I can get a little bit of weight off the front and try and balance it, I mean, there's around 7 kilo, I think it was. I'm really not, by the time I pull the power steering pump off the front with the bracketry and everything, I'm saving 1 kilo. But the weight saving, by distributing it over, especially over this part of the car, you're getting it off the front, so you're not, if you look at it, it's not being counterlevered over the front wheels, because that actually makes it even worse. If I'm mounting it roughly sort of in line there, you're actually putting more, say if it was 10 kilo, you may even be 10.5 kilo there. If you're a 10 kilo straight over that, it'd be 10 kilo, but because you're mounting it over the front, you're counterlevering it. I mean, it's not a big difference, but it all adds up. So, and that's why when I did that power steering bracket, I drilled holes in it. But anyway, the reason I pulled this off, to cut a long story short, I had cavitation in the hairpin. Every time I came round into the hairpin, the fluid would just run up. It must have just run out of fluid and sort of run up here and sort of cavitated, and then I'd have no steering, just for 3 or 4 seconds until I straightened up. And even when I put more fluid in it, it'd spew it out. I was going to do the reservoir again and try and modify it so I'd have a bit more volume, but it was just a nuisance. By the time I was looking at it and all that and came up with this idea, I was on a forum, and these Astra pumps apparently are incredible. So what I've got the lines done too, guys, so you can see them down in there if you look close. The hydraulic lines, this side here, this is the pressure side, and we've got the return side, and I'm still going to run with the cooler, and I've routed it all the way around, up in there, in behind it, and we're going down through here under the floor, and we'll come up through the floor, and we can mount it into the up in here. I've got a swivel joint, so it doesn't matter which, because that hydraulic line won't clock because it's so stiff, that stuff. If you don't get your ends right, you could be facing that way and you won't pull it back around. So I've got a swivel fitting. Yeah, so I'll come up through the floor, and I'll do the same on the return, poke it back down and around. And we've saved 1 kilo, we've moved it back, and we're nice and close to the battery, all the electrics. Awesome. We've got a nice big reservoir on this one too, it's huge. So cavitation shouldn't be an issue. So the old design, 1970s design, was never designed for racing. Hard cornering. So look, that really thrills me, that, and it makes it look so much better in the front too. It's just cleaned it right up. I can get to my spark plug nice and easy now. That was always a nuisance, that one. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Yeah. But anyway, guys, so once I get my axle back, that'll be the next little bit of progress. We'll move on with it, and I'll be able to hopefully finish him off. So I'll get some brake lines ordered, some 3/16, and we'll run hard lines right through it. And it'll be great. I've got some nice brake pads too, guys. These are Bendix Ultimates. I couldn't get any ones the same as what I've got on the front. The ones I've got on the front are QFMs, and they're they're incredible. Look, they've been on this thing over 12 months. And they've hardly worn. So awesome brake pads. But the Bendix Ultimates, I've run them before, and they're a good pad too. So they'll be good for the back, and it'll be a good test anyway. Look, it's going to be a huge upgrade over the drums that I had on. So, oh yeah, I can't wait. I really can't wait. Very excited about it all now. So hopefully within the next month I can sort of get it going again, and we'll go from there. Who knows when we're getting back on the track though, guys. It's all up in the air at the minute. I know down south they did a private practice over the weekend, but as far as up here at the minute, there's not much action going on. Everything's sort of a bit quiet at the moment, so it doesn't matter. Like I said, we're in no big hurry. So it's all good, guys. It's all good. All right, folks. Well, I'll put another video up probably once a week. I'll do that, and hopefully by that time I can start moving on with my brakes, do a little bit more to my power steering, and show you that. One thing before I go, guys. I had a fella by the name of George, and George, you're an amazing fella, George. You really are. You know, I just keep saying it, but you're a legend. And I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do. Because at the minute things are tough and everyone's feeling it. But I'm always thinking of you, buddy. But he sent me over this little carb stand. How cool's that? So I might, I haven't got another spare carb to show you, but I'll pull my little carb off one day just to have a look at it. And I'll set him on now and I'll show you. But that's just, how cool's that? It's just a bit of aluminum. He's done a beautiful job, just handmade. How cool's that? And then you can tip it up this way. And if you take off the base plate of your carb, you can sit it over here and you can work on it that way. So how cool's that? It's awesome. It really is. Thanks, George, for that. I'll treasure that for the rest of my life, mate, because I'm a carb man for life now. Now that I've figured it out with these boost reference power valves, I haven't looked back. That time I tested it on the stands here where it's sitting with the brakes was just incredible. It really was. That carb now is so good. It idles, around 0.9. And it's so snappy on the throttle now, and we get that beautiful lean tip in. And then them valves open up and deliver that fuel exactly where I want it. It's awesome. All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you soon on the next one. And take care, everyone. And stay tuned, and I'll catch you then. See yous.